the somewhat advancement of technology they have. But first, let me point out that Colombia, COLO-MBIA, is in South America. COLU-MBIA is in Washington, D.C. That's two different places. When you hear Colombia, some of you might think of Mexico, and you might think they're similar. Hopefully, after this speech, you can readjust your thinking of Colombia. It's a very diverse country. It has a beach and mountains and farmland, and all in one country. And there are populated cities all throughout the land. There's 3 major mountains, and the beach is from end to end. It's a third world country. However, they do work together and try to get out of the hole. There are alternatives to survive, such as using bikes to deter the rising gas prices, and they use, I'm going to say, explicit materials in order to build houses. Those are some examples. And they just started developing equality for women. And just like America, there is computers everywhere we go. And Colombia is starting to integrate that into the everyday life. I've given you a general idea of what I'm going to explain to you, and let me go further into details about the inequalities of women. Only women do the house chores. And then the men, they control the money that goes in and out of the house. And they're also entitled to more than one woman if they like, and they control the money, and it's not really fair. Men, they own most of the property, such as stores, houses, and cars. It's not like there's a law against women owning, it's very rare, maybe 10% of the population. In an interview with my mother, she pointed out that somewhere between 1950 and 1960, that's when they started voting. That's only 2 generations ago. If you have to get supplies around town, every little neighborhood has a corner store, and you can get everything from paper to rice to nails in that store. However, it works a little differently. Like here in America, if you wanted paper, you buy a pack of paper. In Colombia, you would buy paper by each individual sheet, and it was much more affordable that way. The government for Colombia, despite the poverty, they play a very significant role in assistance for the citizens. Every year, the conditions of buildings and roads, they are always improving, and as well as the education system. For example, they just started a public college. Yeah, I said public and college in the same phrase. And the tuition, there is nothing. However, you have to pay for your own books. Yet, it is exclusive to scholar students, and those scholar students, they need political connections, like somebody in the army, a captain, or in politics. There's a wide variance in Colombia. If you live near the Amazon, you face the threat of guerrilla warfare. And that's sneak attacks from the jungle. If you live in the mountains, it's very isolated and not very populated. If you live in a city, it's okay as long as you have street smarts. You know, don't go out after a certain time, or don't go here or there. Despite Colombia's rumor that it's not very safe, the police is very reliable. And the neighbors or the community, they do a very good job of, deterring people who are up to no good. Even if your neighbor doesn't know you, they just don't want that kind of negative attention. Colombia is not what it used to be years ago, and it is not up to par with the U.S. standards. So try to keep in mind that Colombia is not, it's different compared to today's technology. For example, the houses in Colombia, they would be built with cement walls and cement flooring. According to the World Factbook, some houses are built with sand and cow dung mixed together and placed on sticks that line the walls of the housing. Back then and today, batteries are very, very expensive. If your house went out of power, you are better off hooking up whatever you need, like the refrigerator or the lights, to the battery of your car and have the car running. It was a lot cheaper to keep the car running, the gas, than it is to buy fresh batteries just for your flashlight. Despite the nation's development, it is not a modern world. The country would need to be very rich in order to catch up to US standards. Before, there was no such thing as apartments or houses for rent. Now there is. Public safety in Colombia, it's not really much of importance. Like, for example, the roads, they do respect it, but when they're by themselves, they don't really care. Hospitals, rooms are not sterile, and nobody really does much about it. Many products, according to, well, the Embassy of Colombia, located in Washington, D.C., they make a very critical point that the products in Colombia are forbidden to be sold in the United States. I've given you an understanding of what Colombia is like today. Hopefully you understand that it's not like many other countries. It's a very diverse country that works together in the best way they have. At the same time, they grow into a better and more modern community, like making anyone available to cell phones at any time. It's got a long way to go before it's officially a modern world. And it's a lot better than it was years ago. Thank you.